Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. How you doing? Staying healthy? Feeling well? Feeling secure? Sure about your future? Where you're headed? What's with all the questions? My whole purpose in this resource, these videos, the podcasts, the books, the website, the on and on, is all about providing every resource I can that enables us to strengthen our resolve, to feel confident as we practice. Nietzsche points out in so many of his writings how our attitude and intent is the most critical aspect of our practice, right? What Nietzsche and all the way through the history of Buddhist teaching is about having that confidence, that strength, that conviction to not allow ourselves to become dogmatic and ritualistic. Yes, there are rituals. Yes, there is a lot of text and a lot of discussion. But all of that is meant in the spirit of encouragement. So that's why we're here. And we're going to enter a part of this chapter 7 on the 4 aspects that touches on something that over the centuries, over the millennia, has been a difficult issue of practice or behavior. How to be a bodhisattva monk, in short, has been interpreted to the norms, the cultural norms, the societies, varied as they are from the history, almost 3,000 years of history of different cultures, be they Indian, be they Gandhari, be they Chinese, Japanese, Korean, American, French, Spanish. Every culture has its predilections, just like everything in the universe is an expression of certain tendencies and conditions. Yeah? That's a wondrous thing to capture, to investigate, to observe. But it also is equally the very subject of samsara, which, without even trying, it's our natural samsaric mind, becomes the very dogma we want to avoid. In other words, the craving, the clinging to certain ideas about things without even thinking about it, right? And so the first thing we're going to touch on here is eating meat. And right away, I have a little blurb in here addressing that too. There's a lot of misunderstanding about prohibitions by Shakyamuni Buddha on the monks for everything from garlic and certain vegetables, so on and so forth, to meats. And you've heard me talk about this before. We have to keep in mind that these teachings were given to peoples who did not have indoor plumbing. They couldn't hop in a shower twice a day. They lived in tropical, subtropical, hot, humid, moist weather. They didn't have these fancy machines to wash and dry clothes. There were a lot of factors to take into account here, and whenever Shakyamuni spoke on these kinds of prohibitions, it was always in the context of propagation. And so we're going to hit it hard here, and you'll hear in the language. I don't have to defend it or make it up. It's right here in the language, and you'll hear it. The purpose of these prohibitions, because good old Kashyapa is going to put Shakyamuni Buddha to task. So here we go. It's under the fourth of the aspects, understanding well causal relations. What do we mean by causal relations? Well, we understand causality in a very crude way as something begets something, or as people will often quote from physics, every action begets an equal and opposite reaction. But that's an example. But this is more nuanced than that. You notice the word relations is used. Not so much in a scientific way, but in a socio-politic way. Causal relations. How are things related through, of, and by cause? So, Kashyapa says to Shakyamuni Buddha, O world-honored one, to one who eats flesh, we should not give flesh. Why not? I see a great virtue arising out of abstention from eating flesh. I get that there's a virtue of not eating flesh. Okay, I'm not even going to try to describe that. He sees a virtue in it. Okay, good on you. Let's see what he means by that. Shakyamuni Buddha praised Kashyapa and said, well said, well said. You now come to know the mind well. So it's not about the body that he's not eating flesh. A virtue arising out of not eating flesh is about, again, attitude and intent, yes? So we could have a whole discussion right now just on what I read. This isn't about being a vegetarian. It isn't about being meat is not good or unhealthy. It's not about that. It's very obvious. This is about a virtue, a good thing. For the vegans in our audience, who are, at least it's my perception, and I've been told by vegans, it's much more a political statement than one of health. But everyone varies on that, so I'm not making a judgment. I'm just saying this is a much more political statement, not eating flesh. It would create a virtue in the mind, yes? So let's continue. A bodhisattva who protects dharma should be thus. In other words, if you're a proponent, a propagator of this Buddhism, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, if you profess Namu to the ninth consciousness experience of Buddhahood, Myoho Renge Kyo, then your behavior and your attitude and intent would do well to consider this behavior modification. Why? We're going to get into that. Just hold on. O good man, from now on, I do not permit my Shravaka disciples to eat meat. Why the Shravaka disciples? Because Shravaka is the world of learning. This is where you learn to develop virtues of the mind. Why are those important? Because you're on your way to realization and bodhisattva. In other words, interaction with others. And this is the other part of relations. Propagation. It's always about propagation. No one practices this Buddhism solipsistically, alone in a cave. This is a social practice. When receiving from Dhanapati a pristine generosity of resolve, think that one is eating the flesh of one's own son. So, in other words, a mental adjustment to gird you on the meaning of eating this flesh. Now, this is going to make more sense in a couple of paragraphs here. Is it just about the attitude and intent? Or is there something much more pragmatic about this that hasn't been discussed yet, right? Again, remember, Shakyamuni Buddha and Buddhism itself, very pragmatic. It's not about out there and mysticism and ooh-wah-wah, or woo-woo, as is often said, right? It's about here and now. How do I behave as an excellent human being in this moment with others? Bodhisattva Kashyapa says to Shakyamuni Buddha, O world-honored one, why is it that Shakyamuni Buddha does not allow us to eat meat? Nitty-gritty time. O good man, one who eats meat kills the seed of great compassion. Okay. Is that because something must die in order to have flesh to eat? And so great compassion is compassion for the animals or others like one's own son? It's more than that. So I want to caution you, keep your mind open. Don't just end on one result and go, I'm going with this. Keep listening. You're not wrong, but let's go. Once again, I have a note here. We return to this earlier teaching for the benefit of propagation in a time when personal hygiene was only an occasional, if even available, thought. So there's a hint I just stuck in there. Kashyapa says again, why did you first allow the bhikshus to eat 3 kinds of pure meat? Right? What was that about? Interesting question. O Kashyapa, these 3 kinds of pure meat were so instituted following the need of the occasion. So now we're honing in a little bit on this idea of not eating flesh, not eating meat. It addressed a particular socio-practical means of behavior. It's not anything mystical or... Let's keep going. Bodhisattva Kashyapa then says to Shakyamuni Buddha, O world-honored one, in what circumstances do you not allow the 10 impurities or the 9 kinds of what is pure? Shakyamuni says to Kashyapa, this also is permitted by gradual steps, following the need of the occasion. This is what applies in the actual segregation from eating meat. In other words, time and place. Certain behaviors require certain other behaviors. So which behaviors require or have prohibitions against eating meat? We're getting there. Do you see how we're flushing this out now? No pun intended. Kashyapa says further to Shakyamuni Buddha, why is it that the flesh of fish is praised and called beautiful? Oh, fish is okay? Didn't know that. So meat specifically must mean red meat, right? Oh, good man, Shakyamuni says, I do not say that the flesh of fish is a beautiful food. I say that sugar cane, non-glutinous rice, rock candy, black rock candy, all kinds of wheat, honey, milk, cream, and oil are beautiful foods. Various kinds of clothing material can be stocked, but what can be stocked is those whose color has faded. How could one greedily stick to or crave after the flesh of fish? Kashyapa said again to Shakyamuni Buddha, if Shakyamuni Buddha means to prohibit the eating of meat, such things as the 5 kinds of flavors as milk, cream, fresh butter, clarified butter, ghee, all kinds of clothing, silk clothing, horseshoe shell, hide and leather, bowls of gold and silver should not be received. O good man, do not muddle things up with what the Nigranthas say. The Jains. Yeah, some of you know about Jainism. They pretend to be Buddhists, but they're something else entirely. And they make these kinds of leaps. They start applying things broadly without understanding the depth of what's being taught. Each of the prohibitions which Shakyamuni Buddha lays down has a different meaning. By this, 3 pure meats are permitted standing on different grounds, and the 10 kinds of meat are prohibited by different standpoints. In other words, this isn't a sweeping prohibition. It's a prohibition under certain conditions as the occasion calls. Okay? By different standpoints, all are prohibited until the time of one's death. O Kashyapa, I from now on tell my disciples to refrain from eating any kind of meat. O Kashyapa, when one eats meat, here we're getting into the nitty-gritty now. When one eats meat, this gives out the smell of meat while one is walking, standing, sitting, or reclining. Oh, this isn't about health at all. This isn't about your diet. This is about what you're putting outward. Why would this be of concern if it were not for the communication and propagation of these teachings to others? Hold on. People smell this and become fearful. This is as when one comes near a lion. One sees and smells the lion, and fear arises. O good man, when one eats garlic, not a meat, when one eats garlic, the dirty smell is unbearable. Other people notice it. They smell the bad smell. They leave that person and go away. Even from afar off, people hate to see such a person. They will not come near him. It is the same with one who eats meat. It is a similar situation with all people who, on smelling the meat, become afraid and entertain the thought of death. All living things in the water, on land, and in the sky desert such a person and run away. they say that this person is their enemy. Hence, the bodhisattva does not eat meat. In order to save beings, he shows that he eats meat in order to be part of society. Though he seems to eat meat, in actual fact, he does not. So this is about the recent discussion on if he doesn't eat meat, give him meat as a gift. Because you can eat meat, but when you are taking on the auspices of bodhisattva, in other words, facilitating others' path to enlightenment, you should not have any trace of meat, flesh eating, because that implies the killing of something, and the smell of dead meat, right, can be scary to others. It signals them, even if they're not thinking directly of it, it signals to them that there's something fearful about you, and it would push them away from their own enlightenment. This is the great compassion. That your standing, your auspices, your very presence should invite closeness, admiration, kindness, comfort, safety. So that says a lot about how we should carry ourselves as bodhisattvas. And it's not restricted to meat, is it? This is why in the Eightfold Noble Path we talk about you shouldn't be running a business on African safaris to kill elephants. You shouldn't be selling weapons. You shouldn't be doing anything that promotes harm. Whether you call it sport or hunting, no matter. So I have a note here. This is often a touchy subject today, yeah? And it is important to note that the prohibitions on meat, garlic, etc., were given at a time in human history when very little in personal hygiene was extant. Further, monks especially lived in close quarters, all together en masse, and with little change of clothing through high humidity and heat. These same monks were expected to carry begging bowls through the city, with whom they collected alms from its citizens in order to support themselves and to interact with the public, right, as bodhisattva. More specifically, these prohibitions are directed at bodhisattva monks who were expected to go individually to households in order to propagate the teachings. How would you react to a man at your door with stained robes, garlic breath, and strong body odors? Wishing to enter your house, sit on your furniture, and speak to your family. Not a very nice picture, is it? These prohibitions had nothing to do with health or politics. This was all about being a good representative for propagation. Millie Mill, I cannot go very long reading my own writing without using your gifts. I'm always thankful and reminded of you in these videos. Oh, good man, Shakyamuni goes on. Such a bodhisattva does not even take pure food. How could he eat meat? 100 years after my death, all the exalted stages of the four fruitions, the four stages leading to enlightenment, will enter nirvana. The age of wonderful dharma will be over, and there will appear the age of counterfeit dharma, when the bhikshu will keep the precepts only as a matter of form, will recite only a little of the sutras, will greedily take food and drink, and excessively nourish his body. What he wears on his body will be ugly and coarse. He will look wearied and show no dignity. He will feed farm cows and sheep and carry fuel and grass. His beard, nails, and hair will be long. He will don the kasaya, the monkly robe, but look like a hunter. He will narrow his eyes, walk slowly, and look like a cat who is after a rat. He will always mutter, "I have attained enlightenment." He will suffer from all kinds of diseases, lie and sleep on dung. Outwardly, he will look wise, but inside he will be greedy and jealous. He practices mute like a Brahmin. Truth to tell, he is no Shramana, teacher monk, bodhisattva, but only tries to appear as such. He is burning with perverted views, ever slandering wonderful dharma. One such as this transgresses against the precepts, right action, and comportment instituted by Shakyamuni Buddha. He talks about the fruit of emancipation, but his actions depart from what is pure, and he violates dharma, which is profound and hidden. Each such person, following his own interpretation, will speak contrary to what the sutras and Vinaya rules state, saying Shakyamuni Buddha allows all of us to eat meat. They will all talk thus and say that Shakyamuni Buddha has so spoken. They will dispute and say that they are Shramanas and successors to Shakyamuni Buddha's teaching. Oh, good man. At that time, again, there will be Shramanas who store cereals, receive fish and meat, prepare meals themselves, and keep oil pots. They will be around bejeweled parasols, leather footwear, kings, ministers, and rich people. They will indulge in astrological practices and medical treatments. They will keep servants, gold, silver, beryl, musara galva, probably coral, agate, crystal, coral, there it is, amber, jade, horseshoe shell, and many kinds of melons, seeds. They will learn all arts, painting, plastering, bookmarking, and all kinds of science, all kinds of seed sowing and planting of roots, placing of curses, charming, preparation of medicines, theatrical art, music, adorning of their body with fragrances and flowers, gambling, go, the game, and various kinds of handiwork. If any bhikshu rejects such malevolences, one can say that he is truly my disciple. I made a note here. Once again, this is during the time of counterfeit or semblance dharma, when monks pursue the fake nirvana, later dispelled in the Lotus Sutra. All this is about the behavioral habits and self-indulgences, permitted by those who misunderstand the dignity and requisite stature of the propagator of the teachings. Then Kashyapa says to Shakyamuni Buddha, O world-honored one, the bhikshus, bhikshunis, upasakas, and upasikas may have to live depending on people. At the time of the alms round, one may be given food containing meat. How can one take it and yet be pure? The Shakyamuni Buddha says, obviously, use water. Wash away the meat, and then eat it. The rest of the food, in other words. The utensil may be defiled by meat, But if no taste of meat remains, this may be used. There will be no harm done. If one sees that there is a lot of meat, one should not accept such a meal. One must never eat the meat itself. One who eats it infringes the rule. I now set this rule of segregating oneself from eating meat. If we go into detail, there will be no end of explanations. It is now time that I enter nirvana, so I must dispense with explanations. This is answering well what is inquired about. O Kashyapa, what does well understanding causal relations mean? The four classes of the Sangha, monks, nuns, laymen, and laywomen, may come to me and say, "This is the first time, O Buddha, that you have told us such a thing." Why is this? You did not tell King Prasenajit about the deeper parts of the teaching, and said at times that it was deep, and at other times shallow. At times you said that one infringes, and at other times that one did not. Why do we say parajayika, which means a grave, extremely serious, precepts, and pratimoksha, the rules of monastic life, which set one free? Shakyamuni Buddha said, Pratimoksha means feeling content. There is then perfection of comportment. There is no receiving and storing. This is also called pure life. Prajayika means the four unfortunate realms: hell, hunger, animality. It also means falling into hell, the Avicii hell, the most terrible of the 8 hot hells. As to slowness or swiftness, it is swifter than rushing rain. One who hears of this fears strictly uphold the precepts and never acts contrary to correct morals. Comportment. Trained in comportment, he will never receive what is not pure. Also, the parajayika augments the realms of hell, animals, and hungry pretas. For these reasons we say parajayika. Parati moksha does away with the malevolent and perverted actions of body, mouth, and mind. Precepts refers to the moral comportment, the deep meaning of the sutras, and the signification of good, and segregating oneself from accepting impure things and from all causal relations with impure things. Also, the precepts segregate one from such as the 4 grave offenses, the 13 sangha vasesas, the 2 aniyatans, 30 naisargika pratyasitakas, 91 prayatikas, 4 desaniyas, 6 sakaraniya, 7 ways of adhikaranasa, etc. Or there may be a person who transgresses against all the precepts. What are all of them? This refers to the 4 grave offenses right down to the 7 ways of the adhikaranasa samantha. Or there may be a person who slanders the deep signification of the Buddhist sutras of the wonderful Dharma, or who is all accomplished as an ichantika, who has no possibility of ever encountering the Buddhist teachings by any means. Such people say of themselves that they are clear-headed and wise. They are equal to all errors. They conceal all the malevolences done that may be light or grave in nature, just as a tortoise hides its 6 limbs under its shell. They never once critically introspect any such errors. Because of this non-humility, their errors increase day and night. All such bhikshus do not confess all their errors. As they hide these within, they gradually grow. Shakyamuni Buddha, aware of all of this, prohibits by gradual steps and not all at one time. We're going to take a break there. So, there's a lot of words here, and it can seem confusing, but really, it's just restating the same over and over again. There is always a component of students who will assimilate a certain aspect of teaching that suits their worldview, right? We call this life condition. And we've all experienced it in our own lives, right? Who hasn't grown through our teenage years and into adulthood and questioned a lot of the beliefs, the ideas of ourselves at a younger point in our lives, and maybe become somewhat embarrassed at our simplistic understanding of things. Once we learn more nuanced, more depth of expression and experience, what we once thought was an absolute now becomes maybe not so absolute, maybe even completely changed. Not because at one point we were stupid, but that we were ignorant. We didn't have the experience. We didn't have the knowledge, right? Perfection of wisdom. All right. Once again, I have to thank profusely my patrons. You are all my patrons at some level. Those of you who can and do consistently support this effort through Patreon, PayPal. Bodhisattvas, you're so amazing. We all are in your debt. Those of you who maybe don't have the financial fortune to do a recurring or even a one-time donation, it's understandable. We all go through these times. Please take a moment to just click on the like button and subscribe. These things help get this information to a larger audience, and we can grow our Sangha. So to you also, thank you. Thank you so much. And to every single one of you, thank you for your practice. And use the podcast, use these videos, share them with friends, have a little meeting, if you will, a get together, right? And then always chant first, do Gangyo, if you like, watch the video together, and then have a discussion. Limit the discussion to a half hour, an hour, whatever. Then close the meeting with more daimoku so everybody can exit this exchange of ideas with the ninth consciousness aware. And then go about your evening or day or whatever, right? Have a potluck, whatever you want to do. But all I'm providing for you is information and as a support to your practice. And you can use all of this, the documents that are freely available on threefoldlotus.com, the videos, the podcasts, the library, so on and so forth, as a means for you to support and your confidence and your resolve, as well as bodhisattva tools to help you have things to share with others that give you a comfort that it isn't you and solely your opinion that you're having to convince somebody of, but that you freely are sharing with others doing bodhisattva work, right? Thank you for all of that. Thank you for being here. I will see you in the next one. And I truly appreciate your being here, right? With my love and respect. Bye for now.